When can we talk?
We're not going to talk.
Did you see that?
Let's start with JD, and you can talk about a really, really important thing, bringing our country back to honesty. A tremendous amount of money is involved. Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, thank you for your leadership, sir, and for making it possible. I often find in the fraud task force that there sometimes are barriers that we need to break down, agencies that need to coordinate, and I'll come to the president and say, Mr. President, I need your permission to do, they'll say, for what? For the fraud task force, and he'll cut me off and say, yes, go do it. So the fact that we have dedicated presidential leadership is really what's made this possible, because it does require we've got great people around the table, but sometimes these agencies don't know how to work together at the lower level, and that's one of the things we've had to turn on and force with the fraud task force. So I want to shout out just a few all-stars here. Linda at the Department of Education has been amazing at finding student loan fraud. You've got people who are either illegal aliens or aren't even actually real human beings who are getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the Department of Education for student loans. We have cut that off. We found a lot. We're going to find a lot more. Scott at HUD has been amazing, because a lot of the fraud that we see is housing fraud, people claiming benefits that they're not entitled to, or again, sir, sometimes completely made up people who exist purely to collect fraudulent money from the American taxpayer. Brooke at the Department of Agriculture, something I had no idea until I started this work, sir, that we send hundreds of billions of dollars to the states to administer the food stamp program. The federal government has no insight into whether those food stamps are going to people who are legally entitled or whether those people actually even exist. And so we're working on a number of mechanisms to actually force the states to verify that the people who receive these benefits are actually entitled to them. And I could go down the list. I've gotten a lot of support from a lot of people in this room. Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Oz have been particular all-stars on this, and Kim at H&HS. What they've done with the Medicaid fraud, we found tens of billions of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare fraud just from their hard work. We've cut that off, and yes, Mr. President, we're going to find a lot more. The final thing I want to say, Mr. President, and I know that Todd maybe has something to say about this as well, but I always try to remind the American people, and certainly remind the cabinet officials. By the way, Kelly at SBA has found tens of billions of dollars that were from fraudulent loans that were giving under the Biden administration, and we've now cut that off and recovered a lot of that money. So this has been a whole of government effort, Mr. President. The team really deserves a great deal of credit here. But the final point I want to make, sir, is I always try to remind the American people that fraud is fundamentally a crime with two victims. The most obvious victim are the American taxpayer. They pay their taxes, they expect the money to go where it should go, and that's not happening because of the fraudsters. But there are also victims, people who benefit from these programs that don't exist if we're not actually taking care of the fraud issue. And let me just give one example to build on something you said earlier, sir. One of the people that Todd just prosecuted was a person who was collecting a lot of money from the American taxpayer to take care of elderly citizens, people who worked their entire lives, paid their taxes, should have had dignity and nobility in old age, but it was deprived from them from fraudsters who say that they're taking care of them, who collect a check to take care of them, but then abuse and neglect these people. And particularly one man who died because he wasn't getting adequate care, and that guy was still collecting benefits to take care of a person who he had completely neglected. So not only do you have an American taxpayer who's paying into these programs, you have an elderly citizen deprived of his dignity because we're not going after the fraudsters. Well, now we are.
How much money did he get?
Sir, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more than that, but we think that that exact type of fraud has been replayed all over our country. That particular case was outside of Minneapolis. We expect that there are tens of thousands of people who are collecting fraudulent money to take care of people, and they're not actually taking care of them. We're, of course, going to get to the root of as much of it as we can. But again, sir, it's been, I wouldn't say fun, because you find out how much people have been taken advantage of, but it's certainly very good and valuable work. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Attorney General, please.
I'll just to continue to talk about what the Vice President was just talking about. The way that we are actually, it's one thing to uncover fraud, which we've done, and that's part of it, but it's also prosecuting the bad guys that are doing it and stopping it from continuing. And that's where you have, everybody in this room has inspector generals. And for many years, these really hardworking law enforcement members would identify fraud and nobody did anything about it. DOJ prosecuted it, but spent a very little resources on that. So what we've done just in the past 51 days, over 400 law enforcement actions in this country related to major fraud. That's search warrants, that's arrests, that's convictions, that's indictments that are filed, and that's just 51 days. And it's not just the great prosecutors. It's the FBI agents, it's DHS and HSI agents. It's everybody in this room that has inspector generals that are now they have been freed up, and it's because of you. It's because of the vice president saying this is going to be a priority of what we are going to do, not just the Department of Justice. Even though we're the prosecutors that are putting bad guys in jail, it's also the law enforcement at every agency, FBI and DHS. And so we're already seeing results. We had a $1 billion fraud, a conviction at trial last week out of Florida. And this was an organization that was stealing from senior citizens in Florida, duping them. There were call centers set up in the Philippines, and they were duping them to buy medical equipment that they didn't need, that they would never get, and that the taxpayers paid for. And so that's a good win. We arrested 15 guys in Minnesota last week. The vice president mentioned one of them. These are people that are not, they're just stealing, and many of them are here illegally. And so you have people who are in this country illegally who are then taking advantage. And the vice president says something a lot that resonates with me: the generosity of the American people, the generosity of everybody in this room, the leadership, to take care of the people in this country that are the most, that deserve it the most. Children who are supposed to get food at school, and you have men just stealing, taking that money. And so that's what we're focused on. We are standing up, as you know, Mr. President, you allowed us to stand up a new division at the Department of Justice. It's our entire existence of that division is to combat what we're talking about. And then every U.S. Attorney's Office is now focused on it as well. So this is something that will result in a better place for every citizen in this country and save money, a lot of money, and also it's the right thing to do for our tax dollars, Mr. President.
I'm at the White House, and we just met with the Vice President, and we talked about fraud. Now, if you're from Utah, you need to know this. We have an entire division dedicated to fraud in my office. But one of the things we're going to be doing is working with the federal government to partner on ways that we can identify fraud, especially the kind of fraud that takes place from one state to another, because that's the hardest kind to pinpoint. So with this new partnership that we have, and we talked about today with the Vice President, we are specifically going to identify and be able to have the information we need to catch that fraud. So I'm excited to announce that and excited at what's going to take place in the future.
When can we talk?
We're not going to talk.
Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that too. Look,
I'm trying to report federal fraud.
You know what? Then go report it with the feds, okay?
Well, it's your office.
No, it's not my office.
It was your office.
No, it's not my office. I'm done.
It's your office. You gotta report.
I'm
ABA
done. Look,
rules.
I've seen what you said online. I'm done. Okay, so let's get on this. So how do you guys answer?
All right. And this is our Attorney General, Derek Brown.
Thank you, and I appreciate our chair doing that. Let me just say really briefly, every one of you today is here for an issue. There's lots of issues you care about, but let me tell you, each of you, as I learned as state party chair, you're here for an issue that you care about. And I can promise you, whatever that issue is, it's not going to be decided by our legislature or Congress. It's going to be decided by someone wearing a black robe, holding a gavel. Do you know what I mean? My job as your Attorney General is to defend when those issues get to the courts. I have been defending, since being elected, everything from abortion to men and women's sports, defending our state laws, defending against federal overreach, defending against school districts around the country that are hiding from parents the fact that their kids are transitioning. These are the kinds of things we're working on. So the question isn't, will the issues you care about get to court? The question is, will your voice be heard when they do? And it is an honor and a responsibility for me to be that person. Thank you. Thank you for being here on a Saturday as well.
When can we talk?
We're not going to talk.
When can we talk?
We're not going to talk.
Did you see that? When can we talk?
We're not going to talk.
Did you see that? When can we talk?
We're not going to talk.
Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that too. Look,
When can we talk?
we're not going to talk.
Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that too. Look,
I'm trying to report federal fraud.
You know what? Then you can report it with the feds, okay?
Well, it's your office.
No, it's not my office.
It was your
No,
office.
it's not my office. I'm done. I'm done.
It's your office. You
I'm
gotta
done.
report
I'm
ABA
done. Look,
rules.
I've seen what you said online. I'm done. I'm done. Okay, so let's go. So how do you guys answer?
Of course, individual elections matter, but there's something bigger than Phil that's less than Tyler, and that's the future of our nation. Our founding fathers gave us something special when they created our Constitution. They worked day and night to give us a representative system of government that would balance preventing mob rule while also preventing the tyranny of a vocal minority. However, we've reached a place in our country where Benjamin Franklin's promise that he gave to us has become true. He said, "We have a republic if we can keep it." Today we've reached a place where we may not be able to keep our republic if we don't take action. We elect representatives. They go to Washington, but how often do they represent us again? If you're like me, you've started to get fed up with representatives who get there and then who vote for the interests of lobbyists instead of what we want them to do. Tyler, the candidate that I'm here to represent, also has gotten tired of this, and so he created a system called voting records. Rather than just running a campaign on empty promises or sitting around and pointing fingers, he's created a program that allows us, as individual voters, to make our voice heard by our representatives. The way it works, every single time the bill goes across the desk of a representative in Congress, we, as registered voters, get a chance to express to them whether we are for or against the legislation. The decision is still ultimately up to them, but now there will be more voices there than just lobbyists next door saying, "Hey, vote for this or for that." If you, like me, have a right to make your voice heard in Congress, if you like me want to make sure that your vote matters, then I would encourage you to consider voting for Tyler Percent. Now, one last thing, the beauty of this system is that it's not attached to any individual candidate. This system is designed to increase accountability across all offices at a federal, state, and local level. So if you're interested in increasing accountability and trust in government, I would encourage you to reach out to your candidates, reach out to your representatives, and ask them to opt into voting records. There's information available online at our website at votingrecords.com. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.